Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Writers Mindscape.
Mindscape.
I hate you.
I know you do.
It's so dumb. I'm Tim,
I'm Adam.
and today we are going to...
Hold on, Tim. You know, that's the first time that we have introduced ourselves in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I kind of realized that. That's why I remember we didn't do it in the last one we recorded. I'm like, we gotta do it this time.
The last time I remember, we were below 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You haven't introduced since then?
Yeah, it's been months that we have not introduced ourselves.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah.
Breaking tradition.
Oh, of course.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're breaking away from government and moving into society. Okay.
I mean,
Kinda.
there's a little bit of government talk going on.
We're transitioning. We're going to be focusing more into society elements, but we'll talk about government in some form.
Yeah, at least we've stopped, that government relations, just having to marinate the nether rod in the squish mitten is something that we're just not going to be talking anymore. We're not even going to talk about pressure washing the quiver bone and the bitch winkle.
Dude.
Yes?
Is this your new burning bush thing?
Hey, you know what? Maybe some dude yelling at a burning bush might show up as well.
Oh, fuck you. Wow. You really like that burning bush.
I love all of these running jokes that I've just decided to keep going no matter what.
You know, the funny thing is, it's more me keeping some of these going.
Sometimes.
Because I keep bringing it up and then you bring it up. Okay, but today we're going to be focusing on history and politics, more specifically. We will throw in government as how it relates and all that.
Right.
But it's going to be more focused on society in general.
Yes.
So let's dive into history really quickly.
Okay.
Because this is a big part of stuff you have to flesh out, but we don't want to spend too much time because I think it speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, I mean, history is always written by the winners.
Exactly.
So no matter what, you're not getting a true history because you're not getting an outside view.
And even when you have a government system or a kingdom, whatever you have,
Exactly.
that allows for exploration of past to find out really what happened, sometimes you find out something that really did happen that contradicts what's been known, and people don't allow it.
Right.
So you're never going to get a full, true history.
No, and that's where the politics comes in because, I mean, in reality, no matter what, you want your nation, your people to look good, to feel good about themselves and what they've done throughout history. So you kind of eliminate the bad things that you've done.
But not even that, it's easier to eliminate the history of the people you just conquered.
Well, yeah, that too.
And make your history, their history,
prominent history.
the prominent history, because it links them to you, making it easier for them to become more loyal versus rebels.
Or you do like the Romans and just adopt whatever they were doing into canon of your history as well.
To a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Roman Catholics.
Yeah.
When when there was the Catholic Empire, the Holy Roman Empire.
Yep.
When it moved up into England, they just went, "Oh, hey, yeah, we're gonna adopt some of these things that you've been doing, and yeah, it's been part of our life all along." Haha.
Yeah.
And I mean, also
Us too.
Yeah, the Romans conquering, not conquering, but accepting the Greek deities, but then going, well, ours are different. And you're like, really? It's like 2 spellings on 3 names. Come on, guys. That's not different.
You named them after planets.
Yeah. Or you name the planets after them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, but no, it goes again to, so it's important to know your world's history, the actual history.
Yes.
But also know the history that has been told and fed to the people.
Right.
And again, comes down to politics of it. Who actually is determining this?
How is history going to make the people in charge look? Well, they're not going to allow history to make them look bad. They're going to be like, no, this is the way we have it. We look great. We're the saviors of everyone.
Good example of that is America.
No. America would never do anything like that. Ever.
Adam?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm being really sarcastic here.
I mean, there are people in this country. We're not going to say which one is better or bad or good, but it's like there are some people who will agree. No, everything America's ever done has been good.
Oh yeah.
And there's many in this country who are the same.
Everything that America's ever done is bad.
Not been the best.
Or very bad.
Yeah.
There are people who just like, yeah, this has all been horrible, horrible things that we've ever done.
Like the founding, invading another nation and wiping them out to take their land.
Not a good thing.
Not necessarily a good thing. Do I fall in the line that, we gotta condemn everyone of history?
No.
No, because
it's
time.
Much like right now. Your history is the decisions that you've made at that moment.
Yeah. And condemning the past just because of enlightenment doesn't mean it was a bad thing. Was it a bad thing? Yes, but it doesn't mean we condemn them and now look at them as bad people.
Because, we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't for those decisions.
Not even that, because I guarantee there's decisions in your life that future people could probably do the same thing to you for.
Oh, probably.
And like, no. So,
look how terrible of a person he was because he said this one thing once.
But it was acceptable back then.
But
it doesn't matter.
At the same time, you could have a nation that revels in the bad things that it's done and just goes, oh, no, we conquered and wiped those people out.
Yeah, we did that because
that was a genocide. And
we wanted to.
We like that. That's what we as a nation take pride in.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep doing it, but we have no problem doing it if we
exactly.
have to.
When we show up at our neighbor's doorstep and we're like, hey, remember this other country? And they're like, what country? And they're like, yeah. Do you want to become that country? And they're like, no. And they're like, all right, now you're welcome to come join us.
Yeah. So again, it just comes down to all that. Again, your government and rulers will determine this. Like if you have a dictatorship, the dictator is going to determine what your history is.
Yeah.
And the narrative of all this kind of crap.
Sometimes it can be absolutely ridiculous. Like they poop gold.
Yeah.
And that's the history of everyone in the royal family poops gold.
That's how they're so rich.
Yes. And physically impossible. Quite honestly, that would be the heaviest dump in the planet.
God, yeah.
Oh.
All right, so let's transition from the history part, though.
Okay.
And to actually more of the politics of society. Because you have politics of government, which are the same thing, but we're dealing it more on the people who live in the country now.
Right. It's not necessarily the government. It's not the leaders.
Yeah.
These are your everyday person.
So, Adam, how do you look at politics in society? What role do they play?
Well, I mean, they play a major role in how you conduct yourself and view the rest of your country.
Yes.
You could have a very nationalistic view.
Yep.
You could also have a very what's kind of the opposite of nationalistic?
Oh, yeah.
I want to use liberal, but not in the connotation of a party.
Yeah.
Where it's just like a progressive.
Yes.
You could also have a very regressive view where you're just like, well, can't we just go back to the way it was?
Yep.
And you're like, well, no, because we've already passed that.
Yeah. And there's other things you can have. You have a mixture along the lines
of
those viewpoints. There's so many other things you can be doing with this. Because it comes down to, like, the people in charge. It comes down to people who have influence and power. Maybe not in charge, but do have power and sway that people look to. Former military leaders, former leaders who no longer are in leader positions.
Right.
The rich. Maybe you have people...
celebrities.
Maybe you have a... what is it called? What's the... like in Elder Scrolls, like the magic... A guild.
Yes.
Of a wisdom guild. And these people are held to a high standard.
Exactly.
So they can craft it. So it really comes down to who's saying what, who actually has influence. And also it comes down to the people in the race that you are dealing with. Because there could be some races that just automatically believe they're taught from birth that whoever this person says...
That's correct.
Is correct. Or it could be more what your father says is correct, or what your mother says is correct, or what the community says is correct.
Right.
Or you could have saying, no, it's like, this is what we stand for. This is why we stand for it. But we want you to determine that for yourself. We hope you, and we encourage you, and even pushing you a little bit towards this. But in the end, it's still your decision.
Yeah.
So it comes down to all these different things. And politics is really using what you want to achieve in making deals.
I mean, it's also convincing other people that what you want is also in their best interest as well.
Yep.
And all it takes is a charismatic leader.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing you know, you're conquering half of Europe, and you're going, oh, why don't people like us? I thought we were the good guys here.
Yeah. We're bringing knowledge and freedom.
Yeah.
And democracy.
I mean, that happened. Some people just need democracy, man. We need to invade them and bring democracy to them.
Exactly.
Even though, yeah. Even if they don't want it.
Yeah. And one of the things that comes with politics is not just trying to convince people to your side, but it's also making deals.
Yes.
And like, okay, we don't agree on this, but we need to get this done. So
we both kind of want this other thing.
So how can we arrange something to make us both happy?
Right. The people that I represent, they want this. The people that you represent, they want that. Well, where can we find the middle ground?
Yeah.
That makes everyone relatively happy or everyone pissed off about it. Which one are we going to go with?
Exactly. So it really comes down to that. And knowing what your country's and people's politics is going to be very important.
Yeah.
Knowing your main character of your stories.
We've talked about, does your society run off from a peaceful or a violent mindset, belief? Yeah. Your politics are going to be shaped that way.
Yeah.
If it's a very violent one, they're like, okay, well, you know what? We are always a very violent society. And then you might have a movement within it that's just like, dude, we kind of just want peace, man. And they get squashed.
That's a good way to look at this.
By the blob.
Is what is the worldview of your people who live there in society? Because your worldview affects your politics.
Yes.
It affects everything you do.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a good thing if you know what the worldview of your nation is and what the government and people want to have, the people who live there want to have, who support it, who disagree with it, and all those things will help.
Yes.
And again, it comes down to one of those things where you need to know this for your story. Basically, even if it's not important to the story, you should still understand it, because whatever your story is about, even if it's this weird thing, it can have political ramifications overall. And if you decide to do another story in this world with the same people, the event of your last story, that's it, so small stakes that no one really even know it happened, which to me doesn't make a really good story.
Or maybe it was a high stakes and like nothing, it didn't take the balance in any one direction.
Yeah.
Like it actually just kind of petered out, and that's in your next story. You're just like, hey, guess what?
You're still going to it's still going to affect things.
Right.
So you need to know that and be able to adapt to that.
Yeah.
Maybe your main character, you bring back the main character, and now everyone hates him because of what happened.
Exactly. Or maybe they're beloved because they were able, they got followers.
Yeah. It goes all around. Like the politics is going to be a very important part. Even if you're not being very political in.
Yeah, you don't exactly have to have a, smash them over the head with a brick political message.
No.
At the same time, you can tell a great story that has an underlying political message.
Yeah. So, and politics don't really play a part in there, but they're there. You can see them. And again, this is something that adds to your world.
Makes it feel alive.
Yes. Unlike Burn Notice.
Sometimes Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also felt like that, especially the first season.
Yeah, the first season was very much the world sound.
We know that there's a lot more going on. Why? What the hell? Huh?
Later seasons, the bigger events actually do help play into it.
Yeah,
to feel bigger. But yeah, sometimes.
I mean, you want a good example of maybe how politics, leaning on politics, not a political message, but politics itself as a story doesn't always work. Look at the prequels for Star Wars, episodes 1, 2, and 3. They are heavy in the politics of Star Wars. That just doesn't help the story.
No, it doesn't.
It stretches it out, but it did not. You could have told those three movies in about 1.5 movies.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily. It's almost like Lucas didn't know what he wanted to do.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have on the flip side Star Trek.
Yep.
Which the entire thing is a political story.
Yep.
And it works perfectly for them.
Yeah. So again, it just comes down to it. But knowing this stuff and all that, and knowing your history adds to your world, and it makes it feel alive and fleshed out. Especially
knowing your history, because usually your main character is going to deal with at least 1 to 2 generations of people.
Yep.
And knowing where that first generation grew up and what kind of world that they grew up in at that time helps them, shapes their interaction with every character they ever deal with again.
Yep.
So, having a teenager as your main character, they're going to have grandparents.
Yeah.
Unless you write a story where everyone is 26 years old and younger.
They have done that.
I know. But unless you're restricting the age range of all your characters, you're going to have some people whose mindset is completely different.
Oh yeah.
Than the younger characters.
Oh yeah, and that's important to remember and know going forward. You have anything else you want to add to this?
You know what? No.
Okay.
No, we're good.
We're good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know down in the comments what you thought of this topic.
Yes.
We are going to be continuing with the society for the next few episodes. This is Adam's bread and butter.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He loves this stuff.
I do.
And while you're heading down that way, be sure to stop over and hit that thumb up, because you're clearly to the end of this podcast and you're clearly loving what you're listening to.
Yes.
And before you go down to the comments, just scroll on right over to the subscribe button.
Click.
Become a subscriber. Hit the bell.
Click.
So you are... What's the term?
I'm sorry, our bell broke between this episode and the last episode. I will have a new bell next week. That's why it was clicks and not dings. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, what's their tagline now?
The tagline is...
When they hit the bell...
Don't be a bad guy.
You're terrible at this.
Look, this was supposed to be your job, not my job. I don't know why everyone keeps putting this on me. Just because I'm the chief creative officer and I've come up with all of the ideas for all of the programming for this entire channel does not mean that this one thing has to be put on me right now. I can't deal with all this pressure anymore, okay? Okay? God.
So what's the tagline?
Become one of us.
It's terrible. Anyway, be sure to comment, do all that stuff, and we'll talk to you on our next podcast. Later.